Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, where today guys, I am going to do part 1 to my official redemption attempt to ChatGPT that is on my iPad. Where in today's video guys, well, we're gonna, like I mentioned during the announcement video, my goal is to restart the ChatGPT from the very beginning and see if I can get it to work better than it did originally. If it does work, maybe we can eventually get through every story and I can have a lot more fun with everything again. And maybe even, actually enjoy myself. Because I like ChatGPT, but ever since I got rid of the 4.0 model, it's been kind of bad. Now guys, before I also begin this video, you may realize something. I mean, it's kind of surprising, but, well, I shouldn't say it like that, but yes, I officially did get my haircut and shaved the other day. Just yesterday, actually. Although I didn't get to make a video yesterday because, let's just say a little bit after I got it, I wanted to go upstairs and actually relax for a bit, and well, let's just say it got very cold. For me, as soon as I got rid of everything that was on me, on my face and head, it flipping got cold as heck here. I was freezing. I had to go upstairs to flipping get a little bit warm, and then by the time I couldn't even bring a computer up here because I was just going to go up there and listen to music for a little bit, but instead it turned into I fell asleep and didn't wake up till literally 4 in the flipping morning. So yeah, that's why there was no video last night, like you kind of would expect it usually from me, because normally I'm a person who likes to post nearly every day if physically possible. So yeah, that's what I did though, guys. I told ChatGPT to make me a story about a Totodile, and well, it gave me one. Whether it's as good as the one we had before, I don't know, but yeah. Here's what it says. It says, Totodile, the long backstory plus our first meeting. So yeah. Oh, I can't even read what it says. I was just reading out what it says for a title. Because after the little bit right here is mainly just being like, okay, I'll do that for you. So yeah. Here's what it says about him. His origins and his early life. The long version. Rip Snap hatched on a rainy night beneath a collapsed stone bridge that once held a tiny village together. The bridge sat over a slow, wide river that smelled of river weed, wet stone, and old lantern oil. His egg cracked open to the sound of rain on slate and the croak of frogs. He was the smallest of 4 hatchlings, but had an appetite that made up for his size. Oh no. From the very beginning, Rip Snap was an odd mix of things. Curiosity, he investigated everything. Drifting bottles, shiny fish scales, the patterns of bubbles on the water. A loud laugh. His first vocalization sounded like a hiccuping chuckle that infected the whole bank. Even grumpy old carp seemed to turn their heads. An edge. A jagged little scar ringed his left eye from a tussle with a snapping claw of a mudfish when he was still wobbling. Oh. Here we go. The River Folk. Rip Snap's early days were shaped by the River Folk, a handful of fishermen, a herbalist who read river currents like weather, and a retired water-type trainer called Marin, who used to travel with a Gyarados. Marlin became an unlikely guardian, patient, salty, fond of living Rip Snap sandwiches wrapped in riverweed. She taught him 3 things. 1. How to listen to the river's moods. A change in the current meant rain. 2. How to tug on a rope without capsizing a boat. And 3. How to bite something just hard enough to get it free, but not to bite out of anger. Rip Snap learned quickly. He learned to hunt, to play tug with others, and to hide beneath lily pads like a little blue torpedo. Oh my gosh. The flood and the change. When Ripsnap was still young, a violent storm tore through the valley. The river swelled and the bridge, the same collapsed bridge where he hatched, roared and cracked. Marin tried to save two villagers trapped by the current. Ripsnap watched from below and, in a rare brave moment, bit through a rope thrown into the water and held on to a hand. Oh wait. Bit through a rope thrown into the water and held on until a hand grabbed him. He nearly drowned. He's a Totodile though. How was that supposed to be? After, oh wait. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He nearly afterward he refused to go near deep, open water for a while. But the scar on his flank where a branch scraped him served as a reminder. Bravery can be sudden, and fear can sit into it like an old friend. Can sit next to it. The flood changed the river folks' routines. People left. Some stayed. Groups of hunters came and went. Ripsnap's world grew both narrow and deeper. He became territorial and around the part of the river near the old willow, not because he hated strangers, but because he loved his spots, the sun-warmed rocks, the patch of reeds that smelled of sweet grasses, and the place where glass bottles collected written notes carried downstream. Ah, teenage Ripsnap, prankster with purpose. As he matured, Ripsnap became known for pranks, stealing fishers' hats, rearranging the pile of oars, flicking pebbles at the dove cote. But the mischief always had a kennel of kindness. He would return a lost child to shore with a triumphant squeal, or fetch a ring that slipped from a hand into the shallow water. He developed a particular fondness for lanterns, anything that glowed. He'd nudge floating lanterns until the light bobbed like a small, obedient star. The riverfolk joked that his laugh made lantern light look brighter. Camera, I see what you're doing. I saw that. Let's see. Here's what it says. Unusual friendship and the promise. One winter, a wandering performer, a quiet violinist, I can barely say that word, with river blue robes, camped on the far bank. The performer taught Ripsnap how to listen to human songs and then, this is important, left behind a small carved wooden fish, painted with a tiny star. Ah. Ripsnap took that fish everywhere like a talisman. He promised himself in the way Totodile promised, so stubbornly and loudly. He would one day meet someone who would not be frightened by his teeth, who would throw sticks he actually liked, and who would laugh at his terrible dancing. ChatGPT, we may need to have a little bit of a talk about that. Who said his dancing was horrible? I think we need to have a talk. Who said that? That's not flipping funny. I take that personally because I love Totodile so much. That promise is what kept him from becoming too rough or too shy, and made him bold in small, specific ways. He'd nudge a sleeping puppy with a snout, or stand guard when a child built a raft. See, here's the problem. If that really is a Totodile, how did he about drown in the water? That's where he would, be the most comfortable. I mean, like, what in the world? Man, I don't understand. Here we go. Oh, it's actually giving me a little personality snapshot of him. He's playful but direct. He'll bite your sleeve if he thinks you're too slow to toss his favorite stick. Oh, great. That's gonna be fun. Distrustful of nets and sudden ropes. He flinches at the sound of a net because nets once trapped an otter he tried to save. Aww. Very proud of his laugh. If you laugh back, his chest will puff up like a victorious drummer. Oh my gosh. Territorial about his willow rock. He tolerates visitors, if they're respectful. Secretly sentient. He keeps shiny things in a hollow log and will stare at the wooden fish at sunset. Okay. Oh, this is going to be interesting. Because again, I didn't influence this. This was made by ChatGPT. So, oh my gosh. How he looks now when you meet him. He's bright. So he has bright seawater blue scales with tiny freckle-like specks along his jaw. A jagged scar starting under the left eye, giving him a roguish look. His eyes that glint like wet glass, curious, clever, and a little mischievous. Tail that thumps the riverbank in impatient rhythms. A grin that's at once adorable and toothy. Oh boy, here we go. The meeting. Scenes up over. It's late afternoon. The sun leans toward the west and the river wears a coat of gold. Reeds whisper. The old willow spreads shadow like a blanket. There is a small patch of flat, warm rock at the water's edge. Ripsnap's favorite sunning spot. You're walking along, carrying nothing but whatever you happen to have in your hands. A satchel, a stick, a sandwich. The air smells of wet stone and toasted grass. Water beetles ping the surface like tiny bells. You see a splash ahead, a small blue shape whose laughter rings through the air in quick, sputtering chuckles. Oh dear. The moment of arrival, oh dear. Ripsnap launches himself out of the shallows in a single gleeful arc. He lands on the rock with a dramatic squelch, shakes water everywhere, including on your shoes, and immediately assumes the posture of a creature that both wants to play and is willing to defend his rock. His translated voice, because in this world you can understand him, comes out like a chirpy growl. Hiya! Who's there? You! You with the funny boots! Stand still! Are you friend? Are you food? Are you stick tossing? Say something or I will bite your shoelace! And he laughed after he said that too. Like literally he goes hee hee at the end of it. He bares his teeth in a grin that looks fierce and adorable at the same time. He takes a cautious snap at the air. Not at you, more like an exclamation point. He's expecting anything. He will react strongly to kindness, to teasing, to threats, to shiny objects. He's fast. If you move quickly, he'll probably move quicker, but he rarely intends to hurt. Well, that's kind of a good thing. Ripsnap is standing on the rock now. It's your turn. You can say you're doing anything. Speak to him, throw something. I am not throwing anything. That's evil. Try a trick, pet his head. Careful with the teeth. Show him a shiny. Show him a shiny what? Object? Or Pokemon? Mimic his laugh. Offer to swap stories. Draw. Sing. Put your hand in the water or roar back. Oh, heck no. If help, there are a few examples. No, I'm not letting you influence what I do. I want to do my own thing. Give me a second. Okay, well. This is what I've been worried about the entire time. Why is it just now giving me... Okay, I said, oh, hello. How are you, Totodile? Let's see, the Totodile springs up, his tail thumping the rock, water droplets flying. Hiya! Hello! I'm good. Why is he speaking so... He's like hyperactive. He said hello twice and he said, I'm good. Excited. Hungry, maybe. Play sparkly? Definitely. What in the world? He chirps and gives you a tiny affectionate snap at your shoelace. Gently more like a nibble. You smell like outside cookies. Are you friends? Are you step thrower? Do you throw? Or tell me a story? Or give shiny? Oh, sweetheart, says, well, ChatGPT, what did you do? Holy cow, like, I'm actually getting a little bit terrified. Okay, I had to go. Wait, he tilts his head, grin wide and teeth flashing in a grin that somehow feels like an invitation. Do anything, say anything, toss, sing or sit. I'll watch, and if you laugh, I'll laugh louder. Holy cow. Give me a second, guys. I'll see if I can get through this Totodile. Okay, he's saying hiya after every word. I just said, don't worry. I'm not going to hurt you. I didn't expect you to jump out of the water. After that, I noticed the little scar under his left eye, and I said, hey, are you okay? There's a scar under your eye. Riffnap's grin softens when you point to the scar. He gives a small, pleased puff of breath and flops his head a little closer so you can see. Hiya. This one? He taps the crescent mark under his left eye with a wet claw. Mudfish. Stinky. Mean mudfish. I guess he's doing that because, but that's the thing. How did ChatGPT was doing so good with the points being English before? Like, I had him speaking perfect English before. Oh, wait. I bit too quick when I was tiny. Tried to take its shiny shell. It snapped back. Ouch. He makes a ridiculous wounded face for half a second, then quickly straightens up, very proud. But I got brave. I also saved a Pebble person once. Pebble. So Scar is battle badge. Yes? What in the world? He watches your face closely, tells them in slower now, like a happy drum. You not scared? You can touch if you want. Slow, yes. No surprise? I don't bite hard if you're gentle. He wiggles his toes in the wet sand as if to say, come on, try. I can't tell if it's just because, is it this model that's doing this? Because it's acting so weird. And it makes me mad because now I can't even go to the Transform Totodile to make up for it. That wouldn't even make sense anyway. But part of me thinks I should try giving it one more chance and do one more. I was just happy it gave me a more of a thing like it used to do on the 4.0 model. Like it ain't going. I mean, do you know? This makes me mad though, because again, this used to be so good. Why are they taking it away? Why they ruin it? Give me a second. I'll try one more. Yeah, this ain't working out as good as it used to be. Man, that sucks too, because it's actually used to be one of the best chatbots. Here's what it says. Totodile's backstory. Bristle of the Broken Rapids. I tried doing one more, see if this one worked a little bit better. Bristle was born beneath a silvered moon in a shallow eddy where the river forgot its hurry. The brood was small. 3 hatchlings tucked under their mother's spiny jaw. And Bristle was the loudest from the first minute, a steady chitter that sounded like Pebble was clicking. The water at that bend was strange. It smelled faintly of salt even far inland, and sometimes threw up tiny glassy stones that rattled like teeth. Old river tales told that place was watched over by currents that remembered ancient things. The locals call it the Broken Rapids. From a hatchling, Bristle had a different way of learning. Where other Totodile would splash blindly, Bristle watched the eddy first. He learned the time as lunges for fish shadows, and to snap his small jaws across the surface so he didn't lose footing. By the time he was a month old, he had a habit of flipping driftwood like a puppy with a stick, not to destroy it, but to examine what hid beneath. He collected small objects he found, a smooth bone, a copper coin, a bottle cap with a green pattern. Each object went into a hollow root under an overhanging willow. Bristle's pile grew into a tiny shrine. When Bristle was still small, a flood carved through the brook after a merciless thunderstorm. Current surged, and a mother turtwig in her clutch were swept toward the main river. Bristle, with a courage that didn't fit his size, latched onto a twig and darted into the swirl. He bit through a tangled vine and tugged until his teeth ached, guiding the smallest turtwig to a patch of exposed rock. He returned with a ragged notch across his snout, a pale crescent-shaped scar he hides beneath a spray of moss when he sleeps, and a new habitat where rain comes heavy now. He patrols the low banks, nose low to the water like a sentinel. Bristle's temper came from a lesson with an old crocodile named Nar, who once visited the Broken Rapids on a Migration. Margarine? Nar taught Bristle that a bite is a tool, not an answer. That Bristle misunderstood for a while. He bit when challenged. At the first fearful growlith that tried to steal a fish, he bit. At the jealous nurser of sibling Totodile, he bit twice. What in the world? He bit. Let's see. At the first human who reached for his driftwood shrine, he leapt forward and snapped air to warn them away. The bites became stories. Local said Bristle had the fiercest chops east of the willow blind. Bristle liked the sound of that better than he probably should have. But Bristle's ferocity had a counterweight, an enormous clumsy tenderness. At dawn he would help tiny frogs up the wet rock faces. He learned to cradle moths that fell into the water rather than swallow them. He had a ridiculous love for smoky roasted berries. If a human dropped a fire-frizzled berry into the water, Bristle would do a little dance and whistle a bubbling laugh that sounded like a soda fizzing. He hated loud bangs, fireworks, hunters' traps, and would bury his bright tail under pebbles until the noise left the valley. Bristle's a Totodile with scales the color of fresh pond glass, a clear electric blue that darkens near his spine. He has a jagged yellow crest that runs from mid-head to shoulder, and a trademark oversized jaw studded with tiny comical teeth that always look a little too eager. The scar across his right nostril is a pale torn line. His eyes are warm like gold when he's alert and go soft and almost watery when he's amused. He carries a smear of old mud behind his left ear that never seems to wash out. Bristle hunts by clicking his teeth in rhythm when he's thinking. He hoards shiny things in his willow root shrine and sometimes gifts them, once leaving a copper coin under a mushroom cap for a starving Pidgey. He prefers to sleep on a flat slab of riverstone warmed by the sun and will grumble loudly if anyone steps on his favorite patch of moss. He refused to eat anything that rustles like dried leaves. Apparently it tastes like summer's end. What in the world? Oh my gosh. Friends and enemies, holy cow. He gave grudging respect to Nar, the traveling crocodile. Saved a Chikorita once from a band of Rattata. The Chikorita later guided Bristle to a secret blackberry patch. Has a rival in a sullen Houndour that once stole a fish and ran. They have a history of snarling threats at dusk, but never a clean fight. What on earth? Trusted an old human child years ago. Not me, who taught him the word quiet by making a finger to lips. The finger was sticky with honey and Bristle still searches for honey fingers. Okay, great. So yeah, I think they already made this worse. A winter came early that year. The river iced at its edges and a shadow moved into the valley. A pair of poachers with traps and glittered metal. Bristle watched them set snares for his fish and the woodland creatures. He could have bitten the ropes and fled. Instead, he remembered the Turtwig family and the Chikorita's guiding light, pulling together the smaller Pokemon he knew, a jittery Mareep and a wise Hoot Hoot. Bristle devised a simple, furious plan. Steal their bait, tangle their snares with slippery weeds, and lead the poachers into the marsh's false footing. The plan worked. The poachers left angry and barefoot, but the valley was safe. Bristle came back with 2 new scars on his left foreleg and a reputation that matched his name. Bristle of the Broken Rapids, scolder of poachers, friend of lost hatchlings. Oh dear. The first meeting, dawn at the Willow Bend. The morning is a thin wash of pink. Mist clings to the river like a shy curtain. Bristle is at his favorite sun slab, polishing his teeth on a smoother pebble, when he senses someone approaching, a pair of soft steps that do not belong to Pokemon. He lifts his head, the sharp crest catching the light, and watches the human come into the open. See, Let's see. It says me. A lone figure outlined against the willow, moving with careful, calm intent. Bristle studies me as if cataloging a new treasure. He tilted his head and clicked his teeth twice, the total equivalent of clearing his throat. He's not overly friendly first thing. Bristle is curiosity wrapped in mourning. Bristle's actions and words. What in the world? Oh boy. It says, Bristle padded closer to the water's edge, tail sweeping in a slow rhythm that pushed little circles across the surface. He kept one eye on the willow root shrine. Bristle sniffed the air, then fixated me with a level look. He opened his mouth in a grin that showed more teeth than necessary and said in his rough, excited voice, Human, why are your steps like hidden stones? Are you one who hides honey in pockets, or one who takes? Yeah, it sounds like they don't make it as good as it did. That's what sucks. It drives it. I think the only ChatGPT is actually going to be good is if I actually flip and just do the stories that I come up with. Which sucks because before we had some of the best stories, like that flipping one dragon type Rampardos, the ice type Lugia was amazing. Makes me so mad they ruined this crap. Bristle turned and offered, without ceremony, a small tarnished bottle cap from under his moss. He dropped it at my feet and gave a short, proud snort. Gift. Bristles. It's green like the willow's belly. Keep. Or trade for roasted berry. He crouched down, nose almost touching the human shoe, then flinched when a heroin crossed with the air. Bristle's back flared a little. He put his head low as if to say, No loud things here. He tilted his head and waited to see how I reacted. If I stepped closer, Bristle would wag his stubby tail very lightly, a signal of cautious welcome, and chitter a quick question. Do you know the way of the river's teeth? Can you be quiet with fingers? Bristle let you see the willow shine if you do not snap at the fish. What in the world? Man, oh my gosh, they actually did ruin this thing. Are you serious right now, dude? That means the only legit way this is now gonna be fun is if I do the stories that I come up with. I say if I made any sudden movement, Bristle would flare his mouth open and snap once in the air, not to bite but to warn. Teeth are real. Do not make trouble. Bristle bites the trouble. If I sat on the sun slab, a brave Bristle would hop up beside him, knees wobbling, and present his paw, muddy and clumsy, for inspection. He would then hum by clicking his teeth, a soft rhythm that said, in effect, he would both watch the water. Bristle's first prompt for the moment after a small splashing determination. Oh my gosh. I see Bristle's final prompt for them after a small splashing demonstration where he rinsed a sun-rinsed fish from the shallows and tossed it up like a toy. Stay, go, speak, show a hand. Bristle wants to see what you would do. Bristle has finished speaking. The willow whispers. The river polishes the sunrise. Scenes open. Yep. But see, like, oh my gosh. Give me a second. Okay, this one seems to be working a little bit better. I just said, Whoa, Totodile. Hi, how are you? Bristle's head jerked up at the sound of the greeting. His gold eyes narrowed for a beat, then softened with a puzzled blink. He gave a sharp-toothed click and puffed a little spray of water from his nose. Human speaks to Bristle? Most turn away. Most toss stones. His stubby arms flailed once, awkwardly, before he planted them against his chest in a proud little thump. Bristle is strong. Bite is sharp. Rapids are safe. He tilted his head, scar catching the morning light. But Bristle's also here, breathing, watching, and waiting. That's how Bristle is. He stepped closer, tail dragging through the sand, and asked in a softer, curious rasp, And how is the human who speaks? Bristle leaned in just enough that his cold snout nearly brushes your hand, the bubbling snout of a held-back chitter humming in his throat. I don't know if they made this. This is definitely worse than it used to be, and that really worries me because the only other good chatbot we have left now would be Google Gemini. Because Perplexity don't have the flipping good enough memory that I'm gonna like. Give me a second. Alright, guys. I said, I'm good. Please don't hurt me. I'm not here to hurt you. I reached my hand out slowly and gently patted his snout. You're so cute. Are you okay? You're covered in scars. Bristle froze for a heartbeat when your hand touched his snout, his eyes wide like twin coins, until he let his jaw slack as the pat continued. He made a little bubbling noise that could have passed for a laugh and leaned into the touch, closing one golden eye in obvious bliss. He touched your wrist with the tip of his snout, sniffing once, twice, then drew you just enough to stare at your face with careful attention. His teeth showed in an involuntary grin. It wasn't a threat so much as a proud display. See? Bristle's teeth are useful. When you asked about the scars, Bristle puffed up his chest and tapped the pale crescent along his right nostril with a muddy claw. He spoke slowly as if counting each memory aloud. Right nose, vine bite, pulled a little earthquake from hungry water. Hurt then, worth it. He lifted one short foreleg and showed the rigid notches along the left, thin white lines that tugged at his yellow crest where he flexed. Left leg, poachers, stole bait, Bristle tangled them, Bristle lost skin. Oh my gosh! Valley safe. He made a small, proud snort that shook a few droplets from his scales. And see, here's the thing. Hold on, there is one more idea that might fix it. My problem is, if I literally have to say he speaks English every time I want to make a character, that's going to make it nearly impossible to do anything. Oh man, we are so screwed. Give me a second.